Hey Math 96, this is your instructor, and I wanted to go ahead and go over number 5 again from lesson 2.5, entitled How Dense Are We? So the reason why I want to go over number 5 is because it's such an important concept in order to kind of understand and pull together the skills that you had acquired in Module 1. And I don't want you to forget or suppress those skills, and I want you to see how they come through. I also want to reinforce the idea that sometimes there is more than one method in order to solve a problem. So I'm going to go through actually like around 2 or 3 different methods. So this video might be a little bit long, so feel free to fast forward or pause. And in the meantime, while this is going on, please take notes. Especially if you either missed class or if you didn't catch all the methods, now is the time to make those notes a lot more robust. So here goes. The question reads, Tacoma, Washington has a population of about 200,000 and covers approximately 62 square miles. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to underline that information in a single color so that I kind of am training my eye as to where to look and to not mix up info. New York City has a population of about 8.4 million and covers approximately 469 square miles. If Tacoma had the same population density as New York City, what would the population of Tacoma be? So the main thing that I want you to kind of note here is we're talking about population density and not just straight up population. So we do want to make sure that we understand that the idea of population density, which we had discussed, was the following formula. Population density was your population count, so how many people you have, divided by the area of the land that these people are living on. Remember that we always want population on top, just from like a kind of little mind hack perspective. We want the people on top of the land. We don't want to bury our people. It's a very morbid thing to do. So in this particular case, what I want to do first is I just want us to do the population densities for Tacoma. So I'm just going to say Tacoma, and then in a little subscript, I'm just going to put a little PD there to mention that it's population density. So I'm kind of using my own notation here, but it's personal to me. If you want to change this up and make it your own, go for it. So for Tacoma, we know that the population is going to be 200,000, and I'm going to divide that by the area of 62 square miles. So if we went ahead and we grabbed our calculator, unless you are super brainy and are able to do this in your head, if so, I bow to you, we get 3,225.806452. So I'm just going to write out that full number, just because in my experience of teaching, if I don't show the full number as to what I'm seeing on my screen, sometimes people get paranoid to know if they're actually doing the right work. And I don't know if this is helpful, but I just want to show what's on the screen. I'll worry about rounding and stuff later on. So right now, I'm just writing down what I see. So for New York City, population density, we know that they have 8.4 million, so that's going to be 8,400,000 if I wrote that out in standard form. And they're on a parcel of land that is 469 square miles. And actually, before I go any further, I want to say that that's people per square mile. Those are the units. I always talk about wanting you to use units. I should probably practice what I preach. So if we hop to our calculator and we do 8.4 million, and we want to divide that by the land area of 469, we're going to get 17,910.44776 people per square mile. So the reason why I did this was I wanted us to kind of take a step back and look and see what we have, okay? So we are talking about, we want Tacoma to have the same population density as New York. Currently, if we look at Tacoma's population, we're saying that within 1 square mile, we're going to see around 3,226 people in there. However, if you hop on over to New York, within that same amount of land, so within 1 square mile, we should actually run into around 17,911 people. So because, excuse me, because New York's number is so much bigger, so I'm seeing so many more people within 1 square mile, that's telling me that I need to figure out how many more people I need to convince to move to Tacoma in order to make that density identical. So here are where the methods are going to come in. So I'm going to do the first one in pink, and I will go ahead and I will title this method 1. And this is something that came from one of your classmates, actually. So what was suggested was, the thought was, well, let me scoot this up so I have some room. So we have all of our information kind of noted here in the green and the blue. The question was, well, how many times bigger is New York City's population density compared to Tacoma's population density? So this is actually very similar to a question that we had done in Module 1. For example, when we were saying, well, how many times bigger is China's population to the United States population? So really what we're going to do here, and we'll kind of do this, is, well, if I want to know how many times bigger New York's population density to Tacoma's is, I'm going to set this up and say, well, New York City's population density to, remember that we use a division bar to represent this ratio, and it represents the word 2, Tacoma's population density. Okay, so we have those numbers. We know New York's population density is 17,910.44776, and we know that Tacoma's population density is 3,225.806452. The benefit of using these full-blown numbers is that we are going to get a super, super accurate answer, which is great. It's going to make everything airtight. So when we do this, I get that New York's population density is about 5.552238805 times bigger. So if you kind of think about it on a smaller scale, for every 1 person in Tacoma, we're saying that there are 5 people in New York, about, if not more. We'll say 5 to 6 since we're dealing with a decimal. So then what we're going to do is, well, we're essentially then saying if every 1 person in Tacoma is going to be, how to say this, if there's 1 person in Tacoma, then if every 1 person in Tacoma, sorry, let's scratch that. Let me start fresh. Here's what I want to say. For every 1 person in Tacoma, there are about 5 to 6 people in New York City. So what I'm saying here is we want to take our Tacoma population and we want to multiply it by that rate that we found. The fact that New York contains 5.552238805 more people within their density. So if we take this number and actually go ahead and multiply it, we're going to get that we need to have 1,110,447.761 people move, or not move, let's say live. That's going to be a little bit more accurate. Move is implying that we're going to keep the 200,000 and add that. We want a total of 1,110,447.761 people live in Tacoma. So this is our solution. We might want to change this since we don't usually use decimal values, so we could say we want about 1,110,448 people. So this is one way. I'm going to do the next one in dark blue. Okay, so I'm going to scoot this up. Method 2 looks like this. We know from our previous calculation that the New York population density was 17,910 point, I'm going to cheat and kind of look this up, 44776. Okay. 44776 people per 1 square mile. And again, the question that we want to look at is if Tacoma had the same population density as New York City, what would the population of Tacoma be? So I'm going to use that idea of same, and by same, I'm going to use an equal sign. So the word same is going to be represented by the equal sign here. So I'm going to say, I want to know, again, my goal is to find out what the population should be here. So since I'm trying to figure that out, I'm going to put a variable there to hold that place. So right now I'm just going to call it X people. And we know that from our original problem that there are 62 square miles. Okay. So what I'm saying is I'm trying to figure out how many people I need to live on Tacoma's land in order to have the same population density as New York. Let me clear all those circles. Okay. So hopefully this makes sense, because again, if you think about it, you can't really change the city limits of Tacoma. I mean, and that's not what it's saying. They're not saying how big of a parcel of land do I need to make in order to have the same population density as New York. They're asking me how many people I need to live in Tacoma in order to have a population density that matches New York City's. So what I have here is a proportion, and notice that people are positioned in the numerator in both cases, and square miles are both positioned in the denominators. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use cross multiplication. So I'm going to come through here, and I'm going to cross multiply those, and then I'm going to come through here and cross multiply these. And again, this is a shortcut that we use in order to clear out the denominators. So as a result, we get 62 times 17,910.44776 is equal to, we have 1 times x. So if we clean this up, I mean, 1 times x, we'll take care of that really quick. That's pretty easy. It's just going to be x, because 1 times anything is itself. And then we're going to hop back to our handy dandy calculator here, and we're going to do 62 times 17,910.44776. And my result is going to be 1,110,447.761 people. So, or we can say x is going to be equivalent to about 1,110,448 people. Okay? Take a look at what we actually had found in the first method. That's pretty spot on, right? If not exactly. And again, we're getting exact numbers in this case because I didn't round anything in the middle of my work, which is why I've been kind of bugging you about that. All right, so how about one more? If you've had enough, you can always feel free to exit. So method 3, let's see here. We'll do that one in blue. So method 3 is going to look very similar. So basically what we're trying to say here is it's going to look very similar to method 2. Another student had suggested and said, well, we can use dimensional analysis. So another student had suggested dimensional analysis. We know, for example, that, again, New York's population density is 17,910 gonna cheat again and look at my past work. 44776. 44776 people per 1 square mile. Well, if we want to know New York's population that we need in order to have it match this density, well, I do know that New York's population its area is 62 square miles. So I'm creating a population density. Notice that I chose to put the 62 square miles on top here so that the square miles will cancel out. And take a look and see what unit I have left over. It's people, which is exactly what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out how many people I need to live in Tacoma to match New York's population density. So again, if we were to go ahead and do this and multiply this out, well, we shouldn't be surprised that we are going to get the same number, 1,110,447.761 people. And again, if we round this, it's 1,110,448 people. If you kind of notice, this step that we just did looks identical to what we had done in method 2. So when all is said and done, just to kind of discuss a closeout or doing a check, we said New York City's population density was 17,910.44776 people in 1 square mile. By now you should be like, God, this is really annoying to hear over and over and over again. I'm almost done. I promise the pain will stop soon. So what I'm checking is, I said I need to have 1,110,447.761 people living in Tacoma, which is 62 square miles. If we do this division, so if you take this division and you divide it by 62, you do get a population density of 17,910.44776 people per square mile. So I'm basically just making sure that the number that I had is correct. So definitely, you do not need to know all 3 of these methods. You really only need to follow the one that makes the most sense to you. If you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I do apologize this video is so long, but in the long run, I hope it's been helpful. Have a good one.